Hello dear students, welcome back again to Chinmoy's Biology channel. So let's get started with today's new topic of heat, which is your third lesson in CBSE Science. So without wasting time, let's get started. So let's get started with today's third lesson of heat. So you all know that woolen clothes, they are always made up of animal fibers, whereas cotton clothes, they are made up of plant fibers, right? So we wear woolen clothes in winters and we wear cotton clothes, prefer to wear light cotton clothes in when it is hot or when the weather is hot, right? So woolen clothes are always keeping us warm. So these give us feelings of the coolness when you are wearing light colored cotton clothes in summer. They will give you the feel of coolness. Now you might have wondered why these particular types of clothes are suitable for a particular season, right? So in winter you feel cold inside your house, whereas when you come out under the sun you will feel warm. Whereas in summer you feel hot even when you are inside the house. So there is a variation. So in winter when you are inside the house in morning you will feel cold, but as soon as you go out in the sun, the heat of the sun will warm your body and you will feel warm. But in summer it's too hot outside. Inside also you feel hot. You will be switching on the fan, AC and all. So how do we know that whether an object is hot or cold? How do we find out how hot or cold an object is? And in this chapter, we shall try to seek the answers to some important questions. So, some important questions will always come to our mind that regarding this hot or cold weather and what type of clothes we should wear in summer, we should wear in winter. So these all questions we will clarify today. So let's get started with this hot and cold part. So in our day-to-day life, we all know that we come across a number of objects. Some of them are hot and some of them are cold. So here is a table given of hot and cold objects. You should just go through them and write which one is hot and which one is cold. Now first one is ice cream. Second one is a spoon in a teacup. Then is the fruit juice, then is handle of a frying pan. So you just mention it, which one is hot and which one is cold, and you all know this, right? Spoon in a teacup, it will always be warm or hot. Fruit juice, see, if you are drinking fruit juice at normal temperature, it will be normal, and if you are taking in a cold refrigerated fruit juice, it will be obviously cold. Now handle of a frying pan will always be warm or hot, right? Now we will move on to, now there are some of them we can say that tea is hot and ice is cold. Now list some objects which we are using in our daily life. Mark these objects as hot or cold. Now every time we are being warned, your parents are telling you, your teachers are telling you that do not touch hot objects which are too hot. Be careful while handling a candle flame or a stove. So why they tell like this? Because you may get burnt, right? So if you are getting burnt, you will get pain. So it's very painful. So you should be aware. So we see some objects are cold while some are hot. You also know that some objects are hotter than others and some are colder than others. So how do we decide which object is hotter than other? So we often do it by touching the objects, but in our sense of touch, reliable, let us find is now whether we are touching the object is hot or whether it is cold, our touch is reliable or not. To determine the temperature of an object, we will just find out that with this activity, right? Now let's see this activity 3.1. So what is happening here? We are taking 3 small tubs or containers. Now you can do this activity at home as well. It's very easy. Now label them as A, B and C. Now put cold water in one container, that it should be freezing cold, and hot water in one container, but don't make it so hot that it is burning your hand. No, it's not like that. It should be like lukewarm, that your hand you can put inside that container. Now in the third container you just mix some cold water and hot water and make the temperature to be tolerable, it's not warm and not cold also. Now dip your left hand in a container A where you have put cold and freezing water, right hand in B where you have put lukewarm water, and after keeping these hands in the two container for 2-3 minutes, then you are putting your hand in this container C. So what will be your observation now? Do your both hands get the same feeling? No. The hand which was dipped in A container, which was totally a container having cool water, it will feel obviously warm in this container. When you are putting your hand, your left hand will feel hot in C container, and your right hand will feel cold in this container. Okay, so you can't get any conclusion that to how the temperature of this container is, like C, whether it is warm or whether it is cold. So you can't rely on your senses like touch to decide whether an object is hot or cold. Okay, so there is always a confusion. Here also this Bujo is having a confusion that shows that we cannot rely on our sense of touch to decide whether an object is hot or cold. Okay, so what we should do? Okay, we should examine it carefully, and if we can say that if we are not able to decide whether the substance is hot or cold, then we should find out its reliable measurement of hotness or coldness of an object, that is of its temperature, with the means of a device which is called thermometer. So what is thermometer? Thermometer is a device with which the temperature is measured. Okay, so it is the definition of thermometer. The temperature is measured by a device called thermometer. Now measuring how do we measure the temperature? So now we will move on to measuring the temperature. So it's on two types of thermometers we'll discuss. One is clinical thermometer, another one is the laboratory thermometer, right? So let us move on to this clinical thermometer first. Now measuring temperature. Now have you ever seen a thermometer? Now recall when you are having fever or anyone at your home is having fever. So the temperature was measured by a thermometer. Now readily your digital thermometer is available. Now you can just touch your forehead and you can get the temperature. So now it's available, but previously only this mercury thermometer, that is clinical thermometer, was available. So the thermometer that measures our body temperature is called the clinical thermometer. Now how you are measuring the thermometer, thus that we should know. So hold the thermometer in your hand and examine it carefully. So this is how it looks. So this clinical thermometer I'll be showing in the next slide. Before this you should just go through it. Okay, so if you are holding that in your hand and you are examining it carefully, you will see that here this thermometer, if you do not have a thermometer, you can just ask your friend to share it with you. A clinical thermometer looks like this one, right? So it is consisting of a long, narrow, uniform glass tube. It is having a long, narrow, uniform glass tube, and at the end of that it is a bulb. So the bulb contains mercury. So what does this bulb contain? It is containing mercury. Mercury, why it is containing mercury? Because mercury is the only metal which is liquid till a high temperature, right? So it stays in liquid state, and it is also, it doesn't stick to the thermometer. So these are its advantages. It is not sticking to the thermometer, and it takes the temperature of our body and it expands. So it will move on through this uniform glass tube, and as you take it out from the body, you will observe the temperature. Then you try to just shake your hand, and the temperature of mercury from the that point will come down to the bulb itself. So there is a C constriction. I'll show you in the next slide itself that a big thermometer I'll show you the markings in Celsius and Fahrenheit scales. It will be easier for you to see here this picture is very small. It will be easier for you to see the markings and the labelings of a clinical thermometer. So for that only you need to subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned, stay updated with all the important things which I'll be teaching, and don't skip my lessons in between, because in middle only I'll be teaching you many important things. So please do subscribe so that you get the updates of what all important things I'll be teaching. So now let us move on with this clinical thermometer. So the bulb contains mercury. Mercury, I told you two advantages of mercury. One is doesn't stick to the narrow tube, and the second one is, it is a metal, liquid metal, which stays or remains in this liquid state till a high temperature. So outside the bulb, a small shining thread of mercury can be seen. So this shining thread of mercury is uniformly rising along this column. If you do not see a mercury thread, rotate the thermometer a bit until you see it. You will also find a scale on a thermometer. So there is a scale. The scale we can use, it will be indicated by Celsius. There is also a Fahrenheit scale. We can use any one of the two scales. So now let us see this. Now in India has adopted the Celsius scale, and we should read that scale. No, many of us, we do Celsius scale has been adopted. We do read the Fahrenheit scale also. So 94 to 108 degrees is the Fahrenheit scale. Now we keep on telling the temperature is 101 degree. It's not centigrade or Celsius, it's Fahrenheit. So 101, 102, it's Fahrenheit only. And we tell that our body temperature, normal body temperature, is 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. Okay, so let us move on now to the clinical thermometer slide. Okay. Now here you see, this is a clinical thermometer. It is having only the Celsius scale, that is starting from 36 degree to 42 degree. Okay, so here the normal body temperature will be 37 degree Celsius. Okay, so this is the bulb of mercury. This is the kink or constriction, what we call, and this is the glass tube, and this is the narrow uniform tube inside. Now here the right side, you see, this is also a clinical thermometer. It is having dual readings. So here on top it is having Celsius scale, and below it is having the Fahrenheit scale. So Fahrenheit normal is 98.4 degrees centigrade, and in Celsius it is 36.9, or you can say that 37 degrees centigrade is the normal body temperature in Celsius. Now here it is the C constriction or kink, whatever you are telling. This is the mercury bulb, and this is a thin glass because it should absorb the body temperature and then raise the mercury through this level so that you can obtain the particular body temperature. Okay, so this glass is thick, and this glass is it is the bore, or it is the uniform tube where you can see the mercury, how it is raising the temperature, or when the mercury is rising. So it will give you the accurate temperature of the body. So clinical temperature always results in recording the absolute temperature of your body. So you should never use this clinical thermometer for the liquids like hot milk or boiling water. No, it should not be used. So it is having a highest temperature of 108 degree Fahrenheit here and 42 degrees Celsius here. So it might burst if you are putting that thermometer in boiling water or in a boiling milk. So now let us move on to the other important things of a clinical thermometer. Now let us learn how to read the temperature in a thermometer. So reading a thermometer is very important. If you are unable to read a thermometer, you will not be able to see whether a person is having fever or not. What is the actual temperature? Now let us note the temperature difference indicated between the two bigger marks. Also note the number of divisions, right? And shown by the smaller marks. Between these marks, suppose the bigger marks read 1 degree. There are 5 divisions in between them. So in between two bigger marks, if there are 5 divisions, then 1 division is equal to 1 by 5, right? So it will be 0.2 degrees centigrade. And if in between 2 divisions there are 10 divisions, then it will be 1 by 10. Okay, so then 1 division is equal to 0.1 degrees centigrade. So like that we are going to measure. So we have considered here that between two bigger marks there are 5 small divisions. So each division is equal to 1 by 5 is equal to 0.2 degrees centigrade, as here it has been written. If there are 10 small divisions between two bigger divisions, that is 1 degree. If there are 10 divisions, small divisions, then it will be 1 by 10. Then one division is equal to 0.1 degrees centigrade. So it will be like that. So your sums will be accordingly done. Okay, so wash the thermometer, preferably with an antiseptic solution. Hold it firmly, give it a few jerks. So before starting, you should shake or jerk the thermometer so that the mercury level should fall below 35 degrees centigrade. Okay, it should be ensured that the mercury level is falling below 35 degrees centigrade. Now place the bulb of thermometer. Place the bulb of thermometer under your tongue or in your armpit also you can keep. You can keep it under your tongue or under your armpit. Generally for the kids, for the babies, they can't keep it under the tongue. So we have to use the armpit. Now take the thermometer out and note the reading. This is your body temperature, and the temperature should always be stated with its unit. So whether it's centigrade or whether it's Fahrenheit, right? So it should always be mentioned with a degree. So you can't say that the person is having 100. So what is 100? 100 millimeter, kiloliter. So it's not like that. Temperature, unit of temperature is either centigrade or Fahrenheit or Kelvin. So we are not using any clinical thermometer in Kelvin. So it's either Celsius or Fahrenheit. So I have shown you, right? Some thermometers are having dual temperature, both Celsius and Fahrenheit. So on the upper marking there are Fahrenheit, lower it's Celsius, and some are either Celsius or some are simply Fahrenheit. So you should vary the recording of temperature according to the markings and its units, right? So what do you record as when you take out or take your body temperature? The normal temperature of every human is 37 degrees centigrade. And we can say that Paheli measured her body temperature and she got worried as it was not exactly 37 degree. But there is nothing to worry, right? There was nothing to worry with her as all our temperatures are not the same. So we will do an activity here. We will take some of our friends and we will at least 10. We will write the names here and we will take their temperature. So in a class, if you are taking a clinical thermometer, taking temperature of your 10 friends, you will see there is a huge variation. So someone is 36.5, someone is 37.5, someone is exact 37. So there is a variation of temperature in each and every body. Now this table you keep it. So is the body temperature of every person 37 degrees centigrade? No, it's variable. So the temperature of every person may not be 37 degrees centigrade. It could be slightly higher or slightly lower. So actually what we call normal temperature is the average body temperature of a large number of healthy persons. Okay. So the clinical thermometer is designed to measure the temperature of human body only. The temperature of human body normally it does not go below 35 and does not go above 42 degrees centigrade. Now that is the reason why the temperature of the thermometer is kept from 35 to 42 degrees centigrade. But what did Bujo want to do? I told you that not to measure hot milk or hot water. He was a naughty boy and he had a naughty idea. He wanted to measure the temperature of hot milk using clinical thermometer, but Paheli stopped him from doing so. Why? Why we should not use? Do not use a clinical thermometer for measuring the temperature at any object other than human body. Why? Because avoid keeping the thermometer in sun or near flame. It may break. So it may break if you are putting it in high temperature of a hot boiling milk, and if you are keeping it in a sun or near a flame, it will burst. Okay. Now next we are moving to the laboratory thermometer. Let's start with laboratory thermometer now. So how do we measure the temperature of other objects? So for this purpose, there are other thermometers, that is the laboratory thermometer. So the teacher in your class, so he or she will take you to the laboratory and they will show you this kind of thermometer. So this is the laboratory thermometer. You can see the picture here. So look at it carefully and note the highest and the lowest temperature it can measure. So the range of laboratory thermometer is minus 10 degrees centigrade to 110 degrees centigrade, right? So here you can see that different types of thermometers are used for different purposes. The maximum and the minimum temperatures of the previous day reported in weather reports are measured by the thermometer called the maximum minimum thermometer. So in weather reports, the temperature is recorded by the maximum minimum thermometer. Now in laboratory, it is used the laboratory thermometer. So the The lowest range is -10 and the highest range is 110 degrees centigrade. So also you did it in the case of clinical thermometer. Find out how much a small deviation on this thermometer reads. Okay. So you would need this information to read the thermometer correctly. Now let us know how to read this thermometer, right? So we will read know to read this thermometer with the help of this activity. Now first we are taking some tap water in a beaker or a mug. Now we are dipping the thermometer in water so that the bulb is immersed in water but does not touch the bottom or the side. So it's just you are holding the thermometer, just it is dipping the water, it is not touching the sides, it is not touching the bottom. Hold the thermometer vertically. Observe the movement of mercury in the thermometer. Wait till the mercury thread becomes steady. So how you are holding it, just see this is the way you are supposed to hold. So you are holding the thermometer, not touching the sides, not touching the bottom, and you should hold it vertically and you should wait until the temperature is static. Now you should have to record the temperature, note the temperature when the thermometer is in water only. That reason I'll tell you afterwards. This is the temperature of water at that time. So now compare the temperature of water recorded by each student in class. So why we should take the temperature when it is dipped in water only, but we are taking the temperature of our body when we are taking it out of our body, from the armpit or from the mouth, under the tongue, from wherever it is. We are taking out, we are then observing the temperature. So why is there a difference between the laboratory and the clinical thermometer? So this we will learn afterwards. So for that only, don't skip the lesson in between. You should have to read the lesson, read the video till the end, because I'll be teaching everything till the last point and the end of the video. Many important things are being taught. Okay, so let's stay tuned. So now we can see that are there any variations in reading? So all the students are taking the same process, taking the normal temperature water, and they are inserting the laboratory thermometer and they are taking the reading. So discuss the possible reasons how they are getting the temperatures and all, right? Activity 3.5. So what we are going to do in the previous activity, we have seen in the room temperature, tap water, we have measured. Now we are taking some hot water, right? We are taking some hot water in a beaker or a mug, dipping the temperature in the thermometer in water, and wait till the mercury thread becomes steady and note the temperature. Now take out the thermometer from water. Observe carefully what happens now. Do you notice that as soon as you take the thermometer out of water, the level of mercury begins to fall? So as you have taken the recording in the hot water itself, and again you took the recording when you have taken out the thermometer out of water. So gradually the temperature level started falling. This means that the temperature must always be read when the thermometer is in water. Now you may recall, while taking your own temperature, you have to take the thermometer out of your mouth and note the reading. So can you then use the laboratory thermometer to measure your clinical temperature? No. So when you are having fever, you can't take a laboratory thermometer to measure your temperature, because as soon as you take it out from your mouth, there will be a gradual fall in temperature. Why? That is because obviously it is not the convenient way to use laboratory thermometer for this purpose. Why? Why does mercury not fall or rise in a clinical thermometer when taken out of the mouth? So observe or just try to recall the clinical thermometer in the slide where I have shown you the two different diagrams of one Fahrenheit and one Celsius scale. So we have observed a king or a C constriction near the bulb. So what is the use of this king? This prevents the mercury level from falling on its own. So in clinical thermometer, after you are taking out from the body, you are observing the temperature, and if you keep it as it is for 10 days, 15 days, it will remain in that temperature only. If it is 102 degree Fahrenheit or if it is 37 degrees centigrade, it will remain as it is. So you need to just jerk it to take the down temperature to 35 degrees centigrade or 96 degrees Celsius. Okay, 96 degree Fahrenheit or 35 degrees Celsius. So you will have to just jerk it. But in laboratory thermometer, there is no kink, there is no sea constriction. So as soon as you take it out from the water, it will gradually start falling. Right. So this is the difference between the clinical thermometer and laboratory thermometer. So this is the clinical thermometer where you are having the sea constriction or the kink. So there is a lot of concern over the use of mercury thermometers now. So mercury is a toxic substance and is very difficult to dispose of if the thermometer breaks. So these days thermometers are generally available digitally and they are not using mercury. So these types of thermometers only you will see nowadays. They are not using mercury. They are digital thermometer and they are very easy to use and they can be used by a child also, and it will not be harmful if it breaks and it does not have any toxic mercury. So this is all for today's episode. In the next episode, we will be studying about this transfer of heat in detail, that is convection process, insulators and all, conduction process. So we will all study about this in the next class. So till then, you need to stay tuned and you need to subscribe to my channel and stay updated with all the things which I am posting. Just go through it once before we move on to the next lesson. Okay. So thank you and stay subscribed and stay tuned.